The Myer Centre was a major retail building located in the heart of Brisbane. Opened in 1988, overlooking the newly established Queen Street Mall, it was one of many new locations added to Brisbane in time for the World Expo. At 9 stories, it was the perfect central hub for the locals or any visiting tourists to get their shopping done or just to meet with friends. But no matter where you were inside the Myer Centre, every now and again you'd hear the fiery screech of a dragon flying overhead. It's almost become something of a legend around Brisbane that there used to be a roller coaster that raced through the top floors of the Myer Centre. This fiery scaled beast was none other than the famous Dragon Coaster of Tops Amusement Centre, an indoor amusement park inside the top levels of Myer Centre, still fondly remembered. Although its rides and attractions might be old-fashioned today, if you were a young kid growing up in Brisbane during the 90s, Tops was probably part of your childhood. Whenever your parents shopped at the Myer Centre, how many of you begged your folks to take you to Tops? With the recent changes to Myer Centre, now called Uptown, we'll take a look back at Tops Amusement Centre, and even talk about whatever happened to the beast that flew above the shoppers. Construction began on the Myer Centre in 1986, acquiring a large block of buildings cornered on Elizabeth, Queen and Albert Streets, and excavating over 375,000 cubic metres of earth. Many buildings were demolished to make way for the new shopping centre, but a few facades overlooking Queen Street were maintained. The Hotel Carlton, the Telegraph Building, the York Hotel, and the Barry and Roberts store. The Myer Centre was opened on the 28th of March 1988, just 1 month before Expo. It was responsible for rejuvenating interest in inner-city shopping within Brisbane, which by that time had largely been transferred to the outer suburbs. The building's design also followed the overseas trend of making shopping more than just a daily necessity, but also an entertaining experience. Besides the numerous shops, there were cafes, restaurants, a cinema, music venues and nightclubs, and of course, Tops. Tops had been developed by Mrs. Joan Beaumont and her husband Laurie Beaumont, who also owned several other hotels and establishments around Queensland. Tops opened at the same day as the Myer Centre, and as soon as you stepped off the escalator, it was like entering another world. There was the well-known Treehouse Adventure Playground with its ball pit, dodgem cars, a Ferris wheel, the swing ship ride, a video game arcade, Legoland exhibits, but of course the most famous of all the rides was the Dragon Coaster, gliding its way around the top 2 floors of the Myer Centre building, weaving in and out of caves over a track hoisted high above the store's atrium, and with its roar heard throughout the building. The Dragon Coaster was manufactured by Italian amusement ride developers Zamperla, and was based on a design the Zamperla company had owned for the past 40 years and continue to build today. Tops Amusement Centre experienced successful trading throughout the Expo 88 period and was popular with kids during school holidays over the next few years. However, Tops' success was not for too long. It enjoyed only 12 years of operation before closing at the turn of the new millennium, with all of its rides and attractions being sold off or demolished. There were many rumours surrounding the reason behind its closure, ranging from noise complaints to an urban legend of a child falling from the Dragon Coaster. According to former manager Joan Fulton, despite enjoying peak success during the school holiday periods, business began to falter after Tops' first 2 years of operation. Many smaller scale theme parks around Australia also suffered similar fates throughout the late 90s to early 2000s. The indoor arcade of Adelaide's Myer Centre, Dazzleland, had also closed its doors on January 31st, 1998. By the end of the 90s, kids' preferences for entertainment had just changed. Newer forms of home entertainment had emerged in Australia: video games, cable television, and the internet. The surviving theme parks were also changing with the times. Perhaps the generation of kids who relished in what Tops had to offer had just simply grown up or moved on to different things. Even today, the shopping experience has also transformed with online retail. The times were simply just changing, and the space taken up by these amusement parks were likely considered to be more lucrative with either retail or housing estates. But nevertheless, the closure of Tops in 2000 was met with much lament across its fans. Thousands of people showed up to Tops' final day, where admission was made free for everyone. But sadly, that day, the Dragon had flown its last flight. The two top floors of the Myer Centre were reopened in 2001, with the downstairs cinema being relocated to the upper floor and more stores taking up the remaining spaces. A video game arcade within the cinema floor was also open and carried on the Tops name, but was later rebranded as Funhouse. Of the many rides, the much-loved swing ship was relocated to Aussie World in the Sunshine Coast. With the advent of internet forums and later social media, many kids who grew up in Brisbane during the 90s, now grown up, began sharing their fond memories and photos of Tops. They'd talk about how they'd ditch school to go to the Myer Centre, how they'd immerse themselves inside the multi-story treehouse playground and would never leave to their waiting parents outside, and of course they'd share the morbid rumour surrounding the Dragon Coaster. But one question would frequently emerge. Whatever happened to that Dragon Coaster? Rumours of the Dragon's fate began circling. People claimed that it had been repainted and joined the swing ship at Aussie World, and that it was sold to a Southeast Asian amusement park. Apparently, it had even been once used as a float in Brisbane street parades for a short time in the 2000s. In January of 2018, images of the former Dragon Coaster began circulating social media. These images had been found on an old archived amusement rides website, showing the Dragon had once been for sale back in 2005. Its look had largely changed from the familiar roller coaster to a motor-powered carnival train, and thus began an epic quest to find the Brisbane Dragon's current whereabouts. The hunt for Brisbane's mysterious dragon was on. It had re-entered the public consciousness of Brisbane folk, gaining media attention and even becoming a subject of parody by local content creators and a Batuta advocate. Images of its supposed appearance at a European theme park surfaced, as well as claims of its supposed new home in Melbourne's Luna Park. However, both of these roller coasters turned out to be different makes from the same Italian manufacturer, Zamperla. Finally, the following month, after a call-out on popular Facebook group Old Brisbane Album by ABC journalist Patrick Williams, one man claimed he knew the current location of the famous Dragon Coaster. The man, Dean Davis, said the Dragon Coaster had been sold to a close friend of his. Photos of the Dragon Coaster's true whereabouts finally emerged, showing it lying in a backyard somewhere in Victoria. Despite its faded and dismantled appearance, it was confirmed to be the iconic Dragon Coaster from Tops. The response from the online community was overwhelming. According to Dean Davis, his phone went off the hook with many Brisbane folk offering to buy the old Dragon Coaster and restore it. Comments range from placing it on top of Brisbane's tallest building, making it a new attraction for South Bank Parklands, and of course, bringing it back to its original home. But maybe after many years of gliding above retailers' heads and later carrying people around fetes and carnivals, perhaps this quiet Victorian backyard will be the Brisbane Dragon's final resting place. As of 2024, nothing further has come of the Dragon Coaster, but all of the myths and legends surrounding its life after Tops have finally been laid to rest. But you know what they say, never say never. Who knows? Maybe one day the Dragon of Brisbane will fly again once more. Tops Amusement Centre may have long gone, but it is certainly not forgotten. Many Brisbane folk today would also agree that since Tops' closure, the Myer Centre just wasn't the same again. The impact that Tops and its Dragon Coaster had on Brisbane folk is still profoundly felt today. Indoor amusement centres seem to have made a comeback in recent years, one notable example being the Jungle Adventure Centre in Brisbane's suburb Tingalpa. The Jungle Adventure Centre was established by Brisbane resident Lachlan Walker, who was a regular visitor of Tops as a kid. Their flying fox ride, The Hawk, was apparently inspired by the Dragon Coaster, and if you take one look around the place, the influence of Tops is very obvious. A mural memorialising Tops was placed in the Myer Centre's 5th floor, which also provided an AR experience of the amusement centre. Now, I want to finish this story off with a personal anecdote. When I visited the Tops mural myself, I felt the AR experience left a great deal to be desired, but something else about my visit did move me. A couple stood next to me at the mural, probably around my age with their kid. They were showing her the VR of the Dragon Coaster and telling her all about their memories of Tops when they were kids. The couple and I got to talking about our own memories of Tops, and their daughter, who was about 7 or 8 years old, yelled out, "Wow, I really want to go back in time and see that." Me too, kid. Me too.